Every time gas prices jump, people ask the same question. Why is it suddenly so expensive? But the number on the pump is the final step in a chain that began a long time ago, deep underground. Oil has to be discovered, drilled, extracted, transported, refined, traded, and then politically negotiated before it ever reaches your gas tank. And every step costs money. Today, I'll be breaking down the entire process from the ground to the pump. Let's get into it. Heat and pressure slowly transform organic material into hydrocarbons, which is crude oil and natural gas. Now, contrary to popular belief, which is depicted in cartoons, oil is not stored in giant underground lakes. It is trapped inside porous rock formations, more like water inside of a sponge. The challenge is finding this oil and then getting it out of the ground profitably. Before drilling ever begins, companies spend millions of dollars searching for the oil. Geologists use seismic imaging to map underground rock formations using sound waves. But exploration is risky. A company can spend an enormous amount of money drilling a well, only to find nothing. That risk becomes part of the final cost of oil. The cheapest and simplest oil comes from conventional drilling. A vertical well taps into underground reservoirs where oil flows relatively easy. And this is where the Middle East becomes incredibly important. Many oil fields in countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait contain massive reserves that are close to the surface and under natural pressure. That makes some Middle Eastern oil among the cheapest in the world to extract. In some fields, oil practically pushes itself upwards. Other reserves are much harder to reach. Offshore drilling requires enormous platforms, underwater equipment, and highly specialized crews. These operations cost billions to build and maintain. The deeper the water, the more expensive the oil becomes. That seems pretty obvious. Then came hydraulic fracturing, or as we refer to it as fracking. Instead of drilling straight down, companies drill vertically and then horizontally through shale rock. Water, sand, chemicals are blasted underground at high pressure to crack the rock and release the trapped oil. Fracking unlocked huge oil reserves in the United States and transformed America into one of the world's largest oil producers. That's a good thing. But shale extraction is far more expensive than many of the Middle Eastern fields. Fracked wells also decline faster, meaning companies must constantly drill new wells just to maintain production. Once oil reaches the surface, it has a long journey ahead of it. Crude oil moves through pipelines, tanker ships, railways, and trucks. Pipelines are usually the cheapest option, but if pipelines are unavailable, transportation costs rise quickly. And because oil is traded globally, disruptions anywhere can affect prices everywhere. A war with Iran, perhaps? A blocked shipping route, Strait of Hormuz? Damaged pipeline? Even events thousands of miles away can raise the price at your local gas station. Crude oil itself is mostly useless. It has to be refined into products such as gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, plastics, and heating oil. Inside refineries, crude is heated and separated into different components, but refining is expensive. Refineries are massive industrial facilities that require constant maintenance and enormous energy inputs. And if a refinery shuts down, even temporarily, gasoline prices can spike almost immediately. Now here comes the part that most people misunderstand. Oil prices are not set by one company. They're determined by global markets. The price of crude is constantly changing based on supply and demand, wars, economic growth, investor speculation, and political decisions. If global supply drops, prices usually rise. If demand weakens, prices tend to fall. But crude oil is only part of what you pay at the pump. Gasoline prices also include refining costs, transportation, taxes, distribution, and gas station margins, which are very, very small. This is one of the reasons why oil prices can fall, and then we get those sticky gas prices that can remain high. In 1960, several oil-producing nations formed a new alliance, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or as we know it, OPEC. We always hear OPEC all the time when it comes to do with oil prices. Founding members included Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and Venezuela. The UAE was a part of that as well, which also they actually recently left, which is a good thing for the global market. Their goal was simple: gain more control over global oil production and pricing, because many OPEC nations possessed some of the cheapest and largest oil reserves on Earth. They gain enormous influence over the global energy market. When OPEC cuts production, supply tightens and prices often rise. When OPEC increases production, prices often fall. Today, OPEC and its allies still heavily influence oil markets worldwide. By the time gasoline reaches your car, the oil behind it may have traveled across continents and oceans. What you pay at the pump reflects geology, engineering, transportation, refining, politics, and global economics. The price on the sign is not just the cost of fuel, it's the cost of the entire worldwide system. From ancient oceans to underground reservoirs to drilling rigs to global markets, oil powers the modern world. And every gallon tells a story most people never see. Thank you for watching Bear Economics. If you enjoyed the video or got any value from it, please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next video.